Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I feel like it's been forever since I got to talk to you. I know we text, but it's not the same thing.
I know. I feel the same. We should be at Round Top this weekend. I'm looking at all these bloggers on Instagram, and they're all at Round Top buying these cute hats and cute cowboy boots, and I'm having like major FOMO. So, but I did see that they are doing it again in the fall.
Okay, we should do the fall. And what we'll do is, I was going to tell you this. What we'll do is we'll find out, you guys fly into Dallas.
Yep.
We'll fly there. And if we can't find a place to stay, then we'll just fly back to Dallas that night when we get through or whatever. Or we can find a place to stay down there or whatever.
Yep. I found this super cute little hotel.
We might have to land in a cow pasture because there's not much out there.
I know.
It's really a cow pasture.
I know, there's really not. But it looks so much fun. So, yes, I'm going to figure out the dates of when that is. But that'll give us something fun to do in the fall.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's put it in our calendar. Yeah, so you and I are going to kind of brainstorm and talk a little bit about kind of what we heard from Gary's all-day mastermind the other day.
Yeah.
Because were you on all day or did you?
I wasn't on all day. I was just at the end one.
Yeah, I did a couple, so 2 or 3 of them. So yeah. All right. So why don't you kick us off? What was your big ahas and takeaways from Gary's mastermind?
Yeah. So Gary does I guess it's quarterly, right? Gary Keller Top 200 Mastermind. And the theme really of this one and what he opened with was for real estate agents to get your shift books back out. That we may not be seeing it, or you may not think this, but we're already in a recession right now. So that was kind of like what I took as the overarching theme of the whole thing. He said unemployment is great, under 4%. GDP is rocking right along great, but inflation is so out of line that that's what drives it. He said that really, ultimately, we've been so up that we're going to have to come down.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting because he said we are really in a recession right now, but if you look back at the last recession, it started way earlier than most people woke up and realized it was there. So, and then the good news in it, and see if you heard the same thing, the housing prices and the housing will definitely probably not crash like it did in 2008.
Yep.
They'll come down, but they won't crash. Is that what you heard also?
Yeah, that's what I heard. And so I took a couple of notes on what he said, really that in the last 24 months, the industry total is 40% more dollar volume, which is like the largest in history that it's ever been. And he said you can't really live in that without a recession. And so he said that the feds will slow it down, like with car sales, home sales, etc. And in order to do that, they'll have to take interest rates up, which what I was saying before we hit record was kind of different than originally what we thought at the beginning of the year, and even at the convention in February, saying that he didn't think that rates would go up. And now he's saying that he thinks that they will, and most economists are, really just with everything that's happening kind of in our world right now.
Yeah, so true. And, one of the things I was thinking about back to I've been through at least 2 or 3 shifts.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, first of all, I've already noticed that our agents have already noticed, like sellers are starting to question if they're on for more than 48 hours.
Totally.
They don't have an offer. And then and it's like every shifting market. On one hand, you'll still have it being super hot, and on another, you'll start to have it slowing.
Yep.
And so the people that it's still hot will think that it's not there or it's not coming, and it really is.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you can have 2 markets going on in the same market. I remember that from every single shift. And then something I thought about is, of course, with our offices, we're going to start doing shift masterminds and shift presentations, shift book clubs. But I used the shift book back in 2008 with my clients.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in my desk.
Yep.
So think about it, because all the business people are sitting there wondering, they're not getting someone at the helm, especially your small business people in your local community. They're not getting someone say, hey, we're in a recession. Here's probably what's coming. So you can be that voice and that economist of choice for them in just that manner. And share a copy of the shift book with them, or take the shift book and, use it on your own business. And at the same time, take pieces out and share it with your clients.
Yep.
I think, you'll be ahead of most agents if you're the one, telling, especially your business entrepreneur clients that you have.
Yep.
So great opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I love that. And I kind of remember doing that back then too. And I was just thinking, even when, right when the pandemic hit, I remember he said, get out your shift books. And it might not be today. It might be 3 years from now. It might be 1 year from now. And we ordered a ton of shift books. And actually, we mailed a lot of those to our business owner clients. But he talked about, and it says this in the book, that the number one rule of a shift is, he says, throw everything out but the baby in the bathwater, or whatever that saying is, and just hold your line. So a lot of people that I've been talking to lately are saying just getting rid of all the expenses that they possibly can. And, he said that recessions usually come about every 7 to 8 years. And if you look at it, then we're really overdue. And we're kind of past that. And he said one thing that made me think so much. And I was like, man, this is something just crazy to think about. And this would definitely be for realtors, but anybody else too. Can you morph your business before someone takes your people? And when he said that, I thought, golly, if people aren't really changing and going through some of the changes that are just our country's having right now and adopting it to their business, then they're really at risk.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think it was Jason Fried that shared his worksheet on one of the masterminds that I was listening to. And it was remarginalize your business, because one of the things Gary said, like what you were mentioning before, is ask what can I do easier and cheaper. And one of the things that Jason shared, Jordan Fried shared, was a worksheet that he uses to remarginalize his business. And it says, on the 15th of every month, block off 2 or 3 hours to reevaluate all of your expenses.
Wow.
You could do this you should do this personally, and you should do this. Yep. In your business. But one, what can we keep? These are the bones of our business we can't afford to get rid of. Replace. Is there another product or service that is similar to this that can deliver the same result or better result at a lesser price? What can we offset? Can someone help us pay for this? Negotiate. I think I'm getting ready to switch to another company. What can you do to keep my business? I think my daughter's done that like 3 times on her direct TV.
Wow.
I swear.
That's smart.
And it keeps working. Yeah, because she'll seriously think about moving over and getting away from that stuff, which we've already done. We've saved like a fortune because, we have like 400 TVs in this house. And so my CFO one day, and I'm like, wait a minute, Preston, they don't use any of this stuff. They use Roku and Netflix.
Yep.
So why do we have so many TVs with whatever those boxes are for direct TV?
Yeah.
And we just went and cut them all, and it was amazing. So every time she thinks about doing that, she calls DirecTV, and they talk her into staying by lowering the amount of money that she's giving them. So what can you negotiate? And then last, what can you cut? These are nickel and diming us to death. They have to go. Mm-hmm. And I think if I just got online and looked at all my automatic withdrawals that I just signed up for at the last minute, you only got to pay for it for a week or a month, and be sure and cancel. And I'll probably never cancel.
I know. Well, I remember, Adam and I going back, and I feel like we talked about this too, but when the pandemic hit, we went on and cut everything, like tons of stuff, just because there were so many unknowns. And now we've gradually brought everything back in to our life. So it's some stuff that we don't even need, but yeah, I think that us paying attention and for those real estate agents that are listening, getting back and mastering your book, the shift book, and really going through those tactics. And like you said, we're going to be teaching it inside of our offices and stuff too, just because I think that it's going to be necessary,
For sure.
Yeah.
So the next one I had written down is, do you have anything else on shifting?
No, no, I don't think so.
Okay. So creating morphs.
That was my next one
so
too.
Funny. Just when you think everything's changing, it stays the same. I think about all the morphs we made, years ago, and so now it's make an offer for immediate response. Programs that are designed to create seller interest and make you stand out in your market.
Yep.
And something that Dan Sullivan is always saying to us in his program, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but he talks about how to be the buyer. So You don't want to ever be the seller. And I know that when I first heard that, I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. But what he means is the buyer has the money. They really have the control to either buy or not buy, right? So really, when you think about making a MOFR, what you want to do is have some kind of program or some kind of offer that is so good that you actually become the buyer. People are seeking you out for that offer. And so that kind of tied into what, Dan's always trying to tell us also is about, you got to figure out how to be the buyer, not the seller.
Yep. Yeah, I took a ton of notes, especially from the gentleman, Greg, that he interviewed, who has that company. And I missed where he lives, but he was awesome. But one of the things that he really made me think about is it's really marketing, but it's on a different level. And I think for those of us that really like the marketing aspect inside of things, it's just figuring out what that could look like. And, he said so many people, he said 99% of agents don't have MOFRs. They have brands and slogans and logos and all those things. And some people are doing the guaranteed sale program, which agents are doing that. If we don't sell your home, we'll buy it. Now people are doing a guaranteed offer. We guarantee you'll get an offer on your house within X period of time. But he said that there were a couple other examples, but he said marketing yourself is selling a shiny version of an old Ford, but doing a MOFR is you're a Tesla. Like you have a program and it's a way to generate leads to get them into your program. And he said it's all about attraction marketing versus chasing the market. And I like a couple of the ones that he gave examples of, other than just like the guaranteed sales, where list with us and have no physical showings, which people were doing that during COVID. But I mean, some people still might like that, honestly. And then I love that they were starting sell with us and we'll guarantee you can stay in your home 6 months. So he's just only going after people who are out there buying, saying, hey, if we can buy it, they can stay there for 6 months until they find something else. Like, that's a great MOFR. And then the other one that I picked up, the last one that I really loved, was he said they say starting price. They never say list price when it goes to market. And I don't know why I had never heard that before. And I was like, man, golly, that was a great idea. He said because then at minimum buyers should make their offer and they just need to know that that's their starting price.
Well, and it would help the person that's got the buyer too, because the buyers wouldn't be upset when it's listed at a certain price and they think they're supposed to go down from there when they have to go up from there. Yeah, I had all those same ahas, but my biggest aha from all of that was we need to stop looking just inside of our industry and look outside of our industry. Because if you look at what this gentleman, he took a company that was a complete different outside company, and he said, why not me? Whereas I think as realtors, we don't do that. We look at other realtors and say, well, that can't be done, or my board won't let me do that. And what he did is he said, look, if I create a marketing company, the marketing company can do whatever, and it's the marketing company that has the program. I just thought that was genius, and I thought, duh, we get so in a rut in what we do that we can't see outside. And I think you've got to see outside the box and think outside the box.
I love that. I totally agree. I just liked that he said the definition of figuring out a MOFR is, number one, what demographics do you want? And then number two, look at the market in that demographic and ask yourself what's not out there, and then go do it and be different and be better. Because he said you have to create curiosity, then you have to get them to pick up the phone and call you, and then you have to, and for us, then he said then you have to ask them to actually come into their house and get on the, be able to get the appointment. But he just, I thought, and have you read that book that he shared, Blue Ocean?
Yeah, it's been a long time
I've
ago.
never read that.
I wanted to read. I put it down to.
Yeah, I wrote it down too.
Yeah, I read it. It's been around a long time, but I haven't. I need to reread
Well, that
it.
was,
because sometimes when the message, it was way on the front end of all the technology stuff. And to be honest with you, probably a great reread right now.
Yeah, I had heard of it, but I'd never read it. And so when he said that, I wrote it down to go back and get it. But the crazy thing was to me that he said right now, and I didn't pick up whether this was gross or net, but that he was making $1 million a month just by doing MOFRs. At the end, when Gary said, give me about what somebody like you is making right now. And he said,
well, since he's a realtor, I'm going to go by gross. He might be a little smarter business person than most of us, but we all tend to start out using gross until we realize that's
Not
not really
really
what we
it.
at home. But hey, that's fine. I'll gross $1 million a month and figure out the expenses later.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I was very impressed by him, and it just made me like go crazy with my mind on all the different ideas that really we could come up with to create offers for immediate response. Yeah. Love it.
Okay. So what do you have next?
Oh my gosh, I have so many in here. You know, I did write down. Oh, here's my notes on. Hold on, sorry, I've switched up my page. I did write down the 4 E's process that he talked about, and I'd heard this before, but I just needed a good reminder of it. It was effectiveness, experience, evaluation, and expectations when working with clients. So he said effectiveness is how many actually, like what are your percentage of getting people to contract, getting your sellers to contract. Experience is the experience that they're getting. So he said 70% of your closing should result in a 5-star review or higher. And he said you need to know your close to review ratio. And that was a big aha for me, even for our team, just figuring out and continuing to build that experience and that 5-star review. The 3rd E with evaluation, he said 25% should at least give us one name for a referral. And then expectations are, what are the expectations that we are not setting that we should be with our clients? And what are we setting that are not even being heard? And really, I just thought, like, man, we got to go back to, I just love that. I'd heard him use that a long time ago and I had forgotten about it. And so I actually wrote that down to share that with our team this week on our call on Friday. And I just think if you can go through and kind of think about where you are in your business with effectiveness, experience, your ratings, evaluation, and the expectations that you set, and see if there's any room for improvement.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I think you know, to me, what gives me a little bit of peace is some of this stuff isn't new; it's kind of repackaged, and depending on which market we're in and those kind of things. So I think sometimes just going back and asking yourself, if you've been in the business a long time, what worked for me in the past that I thought the market wasn't ready for yet, and maybe it is again. What are some of the things? Because we did guaranteed sales years ago. I mean, we've done so many of the things, but we never bothered to take them to the next level, like offer pad or different things like that. And why couldn't we have done things like that? Why weren't we doing those kind of things? So one of the things I want to do is make a list of all the people who actually are making money out of our pockets, out of the realtors' pockets, and say, why not me? Why couldn't I do that? Why can't I be that source?
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Because if you think about it, that's what so many other people, I loved when Gary said at Family Reunion that a lot of people have been able to use Keller Williams as a platform and continue to grow other things. And we've both been able to do that too. And I just keep thinking, what else is out there? I mean, there's so many other things. I think that that's just where the industry is changing so fast. It's like, you have all these ideas and figuring out what to do. I think of all these things that I want to do and then trying to.
Yeah, that's, make sure you narrow in on one and get one completed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when that reminds me, one of the things I put down was when Lindsay, which we've had Lindsay on our podcast.
Yep.
Lindsay Soprani from Soprani Consulting, and she has a great service that helps people, find talent and hire. And it made me think, though, that there becomes a fork in a realtor's business that they have to either decide, I will master this people part myself, or I will find someone else who has chosen to master it and hire them. And, I always say to people, you can always do that. And I love Lindsay and I want lots of people to use her. But I also want people to realize that when you become a business person and your highest form of making money as a business is people making you money, and you don't master the part about how to put the right people in the right spots, you are limiting your opportunity. You are saying, I'm okay where I am, and I never want to go too much farther. I'm okay with that. And if that answer is true for you, absolutely good for you. If not, then I think you are thinking you're just doing something that puts the job on someone else, but I don't think you think about how limiting that is for your life. I can tell you this, if I didn't stay with trying to find great people, and trust me, I just went through this whole process, weeks of it. And honestly, there's so many times I want to say, I just want to call Lindsay and turn it over to her, you know. But the truth is, I know the value is in me staying with it and continuing to go through the process and get more candidates and do all those things, because I have unlimited opportunity when I do that. When I choose not to master that piece, I am limiting what I can do as a business person. Personally, personal opinion, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with that, Linda, because I think sometimes too, when you go through the whole process and you actually do that, I don't know what the best way to say it is. It's like you get, well, one, you get better at it every time, but two, it's like, I feel like you have a deeper connection with those people maybe. And I don't know. I don't know. Even I have a hard time even like hiring people from Indeed, because I always remember what you've taught me. And I just think there's so much truth in it, is that we should all have people inside of our database and inside of our sphere and inside of the people that we know. You know what I mean? It's just figuring out who that is and taking the time to really go deep with it. But Gary said something when we were in Austin, I don't know, sometime last year. And it struck me. He said, "You never see me posting an ad saying, looking for the next president of Keller Williams or looking for the next, whoever. Yeah. And he's like, because we have them inside of our ecosystem, or we're building a bench and we've gone to find them. We haven't put it out. I don't know. It just made me think about that differently, but I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big aha. He said, you don't ever, matter of fact, you think
he
about
never has.
Next thing you know, one's out and the other one, you never even see it. He's already got his eye on. So I started trying to pay a little bit more attention. I still kind of struggle because I guess I just want everybody to be a winner and a hero. So I have a hard time unless I really get to work closely with somebody to figure out what their unique ability is, or if they're talent or non-talent. But I do know this for sure. The longer you spend with someone, if you're still gray about it, you haven't spent long enough time with them. The longer you spend with somebody, the more you will be able to feel and see, oh, wow, this is that person's strengths. This is the spot that they would be best in, or this is what I think I could do with them. I think you just got to constantly train yourself like anything else. And the more you do it, the more that activator is activated to start watching and paying attention to what you're looking for. It's like the hummingbird story. What's the one that gets the meat? The buzzard? Is that a buzzard? No, what is that? What is the thing that goes around and gets dead meat? Mo tells that story.
Vulture?
They go get roadkill. Vulture. Is it a vulture? Okay, whatever it is. It's some
I think
big
it's
bird
a vulture.
that goes around
I think. I don't know.
Things. It's a buzzard or a vulture or something. Anyway, they find what they're looking for. And then hummingbirds, they go look for the sweet nectar and they find what they're looking for. So I just always remind myself, and 9 times out of 10, if I just had a call with a top agent the other day, and when I really drilled down and asked questions, they were needing somebody, but they had spent no time looking, and yet their first instinct was, I can't find anybody. Well, get me your calendar. Yeah. Let's see how much time you spent looking. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because I didn't do it.
That just reminded me of that's really like the last year I've taken to just like go deep and build some of our systems and build some things. And it hit me because I heard Tim Heil sit on stage and say, you haven't seen me for 4 years. People said I got out of the business. People said, I was doing this or not focused or not in the game anymore. And he said, but really I put in my calendar what I needed to do. And that was to seclude myself and build, of course, and now I'm blanking on it, but home, what's this thing called? Home something. Home.
Not home.
I don't know. I can't think of it, but whatever it was. And he said, I just put my head down and I had to do it because I kept saying that I knew I needed to, but my calendar wasn't reflecting me actually doing it. And I think there's a lot in that. I found one note that I forgot to say when we were talking about MOFers that I think is really great. And this guy said, agents have been following other agents rather than following marketers. And we as agents need to go out and find great marketers and see what they're doing and how can you do that in your business versus worrying about what your other peers are doing on social media and what their marketing is. We just need to go find great marketers.
Yeah, and great businesses and all those kind of things. Yep. Exactly. So any final thoughts as we wrap up with Gary's Mastermind?
I think really at the end of it, it just came down to me that we've just been in this crazy 2 years of like a roller coaster, 2.5 or however long it's been now. And I just think that we have to get ourselves back on track with realizing that we really are in a recession and figuring out what we need to do for our businesses to look like that. I mean, one of the things, NAR is predicting that there'll be 5.9 million homes this year. Last year it was 6.1, but Gary didn't agree with that. He didn't think it would be that many. And so to me, I think it's just, well, I guess my largest aha is just knowing more about this, and we need to be market experts, you know what I mean? And really going deep and making sure that everybody has somebody in their life that can keep them up to date on this, or they're seeking out the information. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think, this can be an opportunity for you to actually become the local expert and feel different than any other agent by helping your local community and business people go through this also. So you can kind of use this as your market of the moment. Or you can just stick your head in the sand and hope for the best. But I think there's an opportunity here if you want it. And it will help you also because it'll keep you informed with what's going on and where the market's headed. And of course, none of us have a crystal ball, but at least you would give them logical things so that they can make a good decision instead of them making emotional decisions.
Yep, totally agree.
So another great mastermind. We'll be back next quarter with notes from Gary's mastermind. So thanks for joining us. And if you have not hit the subscribe button below, please do that. Oh, I do have one praise. One of the our regional owner in RD in North Texas said that he got a great idea from my podcast. And so it was on the top things that realtors are looking for. So he's doing a mastermind and top producer panel around those topics. So anyway, that was a good praise for you and I on the podcast. So again, if you have a topic, a conversation, or a question or a challenge that you'd like for Dana and I to discuss on the podcast, reach out to us at info@everythinglifeandrealestate. And remember, hit subscribe if you haven't. And Dana is going for those 500 5-star reviews. So help us out there if you can, and pass this podcast along to any business person or realtor that you think would benefit from these conversations. So Dana, I guess I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.